Yo guys, Visionist Gen here, back with more Marvel Rivals content. Today's video I'll be bringing you the full Black Widow guide following the latest season update, breaking down all of her abilities, including her team-up ability with the Punisher, and addressing both her strengths and weaknesses. This is episode 31 of my Hero Series guides, with all of the previous episodes on my channel and linked in the description below. So on that note, let's get right into it. So first things first, Black Widow is definitely a fun character in this game. She is a duelist, a DPS with great range and almost close quarters abilities as well. But I'll be honest, I am a console player, and unless you're playing on PC, this character is not that great in using in competitive, and therefore I would probably not recommend or use her in myself for all competitive. I'm at the sort of GM or Celestial level, and this is not a character you would typically use. Now, it is a shame because literally from the very start of this game, she's just been redundant in like almost every aspect versus other top tier heroes, and I can go on and on about the tuning of this character, etc. versus other heroes, but this is not for this video. This is a guide video, and perhaps as a part of my Lord series that I'm creating and have been producing when I get around to uploading the Lord Black Widow episode, which to be honest I'm really close now. I've got her to Centurion. I'm like over halfway towards the Lord in that sort of in the bar, and that's something I'm grinding in case you guys weren't aware. But like I said, this is a guide and we'll get back to this. So as I said, she is a duelist in this game. As for her stats and ability, Black Widow is probably the squishiest hero in the game with a base health of only 250 and a base movement speed of 6 meters per second. As for abilities, she has very few abilities, which adds to the issue of her build. Now her primary attack, her first one, known as the Red Rim Rifle, which deals 120 damage per round, dealing critical damage as well, has an ammo count of 15 and with a fire rate of 0.83 per second. The damage then also begins to fall off at anything past 10 meters, decreasing to 50% at 20 meters. So basically not very powerful at range, even though she's using a sniper, which does not make any sense and is literally like the start of where the issue is with her, in my opinion. Now, in addition to the rifle, Black Widow also has the Widow's Bite batons, where she can strike and enhance electric batons to deal 45 damage per hit up to 3 meters away. So a very close quarter ability and can hit 2 times per second. And I'll be honest, every hero literally beats her when she's using this attack. So unless you're swapping at close quarters after sniping someone and you're trying to ensure that final hit just to get the final hit in case you can't land that final snipe, I'll be honest, I would not recommend using these batons whatsoever. It is a shame because they are so cool, they are iconic as a part of the character's lore, but they're just useless. And versus literally almost every hero in the game in my own experience, and like I say, I'd like to think I'm pretty decent at this character. I've got to Lord now and I'm pretty competent at this game in the grand scheme of things. She is just not great against any characters by using these unless you have someone, like I said, weak, or they just suck at the game for the most part. But versus over other characters based on their own abilities and playstyles, she just will not beat many characters at all with this. So in my opinion, don't use them. Use the sniper only, switch to them when needed. But hopefully when this video comes around, maybe there's been an update and a revamp to this character, because like I said, since the very start of the game, she's pretty much just been useless for the most part, which does suck. Of course, at the highest level in competitive, if you're a good player and you just know how to use this character, of course she's going to be good in good hands. But for the most part, I'd say this is definitely like one of the highest, if not the highest skill ceiling characters in the entire game. Not for the casual hands, so make sure you bear that in mind. Now, as for her first actual ability, the R1 ability, the Sprint, where she basically has one of the biggest skill gap abilities, I would say, with regards to her advanced movement ability. By pressing R1, you activate the Fleet Foot ability to dash forward and enables a powerful jump to create off angles, evade to safety, and even challenge flyers as well using the kick as well, which we'll go over shortly. Now, the ability has a maximum energy of 120, costing 12 energy per second. So basically, when sprinting, you can use it for full 10 seconds in use. And anytime you use the jump, you consume 24 of the energy, which basically the ability has a recovery speed of 30 energy per second. So it takes 4 full seconds to get back to full sprint. And when using this ability, it provides Black Widow with a 33% movement speed boost, making her one of the fastest heroes in the game during the use of this ability. And then combined with her L1 ability, the Edge Dancer, this in my opinion is where the biggest skill gap ability lies with Black Widow, where she basically has the L1 ability to kick, which basically allows Black Widow to unleash a spinning kick to knock enemies airborne. Landing the final hit will basically allow her to then zip to that target with a grappling hook for a second kick as a follow-up, which deals more further damage and also stuns them. So the initial kick deals 35 damage, has a 5 meter range, and the follow-up kick deals an additional 35 damage as well, up to 12 meters away, where she can use that grapple, stunning them for 1 second. Now, the catch of this ability and when to use it and successfully landing a kick, the second follow-up basically has a kick timer of 5 seconds, and once used, or if you miss that window, the cooldown then kicks in, which lasts for 15 seconds. So basically, what you want to kind of do, in my opinion, is try and land a snipe on someone, especially a squishy target, then kick them, then follow up that kick straight away and deal 70 damage basically, and then basically leave them stunned for 1 second, as you can see in this gameplay. And that way you're going to more likely get the guaranteed basically one hit combo, is kind of what they say. Obviously it's not one hit, but it's kind of the gist of it. You can pretty much line up a really good combo with this character if you know how to use it, and especially against those squishier targets, mostly duelists and strategists in the most part. Now, as I said, this is like the biggest skill capability for this character. Being able to use this ability properly in 1v1 situations is crucial. I play this character pretty much for the most part in Doom match. I just prefer personally using other characters in casual, or definitely don't use her in competitive, like I said earlier in the video. Like, you're able to comfortably deal with other duelists in these modes in 1v1 scenarios if you know what you're doing, unless of course they're like Iron Fist, Magic, or Mr. Fantastic. Then in those cases, just run, because due to their sustain and those characters' playstyles, they are just so much harder to deal with at close quarters. But against heroes like Black Panther, Spider-Man, etc., I found Black Widow is far superior in 1v1 situations when you're playing this character right, at least in Doom Match. I can't speak, like I said, for casual or for competitive, but in Doom Match, this character is so fun to use against Black Widow, Black Panthers, against, of course, Black Widows as well, if you're playing against your own kind, or obviously a Spider-Man as well. If you just know how to use the combo, like I said, if you land a shot, you hit the kick, you stun them, you have an easy headshot or an easy just insta-kill straight away after. And timing the ability, making sure you land your shot on your target prior to using the kick, saving it in your back pocket for when you're basically getting dove onto. All of these tips are sort of the higher level things that I've learned along the way and crucial for her survival. And then, of course, there's the ultimate ability, which, if we're being honest, is like the most anticlimactic ultimate in the game, in my opinion. I don't know why it's so useless. It should be way more powerful, considering she only has 2 abilities and she has to be really accurate in order to be effective, which for the most part in casual hands, in players who are less experienced in the game, they're just never going to use this character. So if the ultimate was at least fun or better, then maybe people would. Now basically what it does is the electroplasma explosion, which is where Black Widow then switches her red room rifle, the normal primary weapon, to destruction mode and unleashes an electroplasmic blast, damaging enemies within range and leaving plasma on the ground, which then slows enemies. Now the ultimate has a projectile speed of 100 meters per second, so you have to be quite accurate and you have to know where you're landing it in a certain area based on its radius. The explosion range has a 5.5 to sort of 8 meter radius based on how long you're actually charging up the ultimate. The damage it deals is also 120 to 170, with the maximum damage being achieved after half a second of charging as well. So basically just wait at half a second and then you'll get the maximum damage and range output. And then also, as well as that, the plasma radius is 1.5 meters, which then slows enemies in that radius by 55% with a 10-second plasma duration, which also applies vulnerability to those enemies as well by 15%, lasting for 4 seconds. And the ultimate ability costs only 2.5 or 2,800 energy, which is actually relatively low costing for an ultimate, but unless you're dealing constant damage, it will of course take longer to earn, so it's not really that quick in the grand scheme of things when you think about it on a relative term, in comparison to maybe the likes of another Duelist who has the same costing ultimate, but will constantly deal more damage and have more of an impact. Now, like I said, the ultimate does do a good job. It slows enemies, applies vulnerability, and of course deals some good damage. But for the most part, if you're using this in a crowded situation, unless you have a follow-up from teammates, you're never going to be able to take out multiple enemies, unless of course they are already weak by someone else. So for the most part, I just find this ultimate really useless, especially, like I said, in Doom Match. It's pretty good in your 1v1 scenarios, but it does the exact same damage to a single target on their own as the actual rifle as well. And then leading me on to the next point is the team ability, which is the Punisher, which is shared with Punisher. Black Widow also has a cool team ability with him, where she can basically switch the red room rifle to sniper mode and fire a high round energy, which basically deals the exact same damage, 120 per hit, which does the exact same damage as the primary attack and the ultimate, has the same ammo count of 15, which basically is shared between the primary attack and of course this ability, a same fire rate, but there's no damage drop off. That's the only difference. So you can literally just aim down sight, keep the zoom on, and basically just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. By pressing circle, you activate this mode, and it is really good. I'm not gonna lie, it is definitely very powerful, especially in sort of straight line areas or where people are just not moving about too much. But the problem is, you're never going to find a Punisher and a Black Widow paired together, and if you do, you're probably going to have a miserable time if you are the alternate teammates on that team, or you might have a really fun time playing like a dive hero on the enemy team because they're just going to sit stationed up. But who knows? Maybe there is a good comp out there. Maybe there's someone who has a good clip or good idea or strategy on how to use this. I don't know. I've never really found it successful. Maybe the Punisher I was playing with wasn't great, or maybe I just wasn't playing great. Who knows? But for the most part, I don't think it's that good of a team up because it's just not that meta or anything like that for the grand scheme of things. Now, Black Widow, like I said, is a respectable hero, a ranged hero who's really effective in this game, especially if you love sniping and can land consistent shots. On console, I just don't think she's going to cut it unless you can land consistent shots, like I said. In lower elo hands or lower skill players' hands, she's just not going to be the best pick that you could possibly have. She's definitely not in the top list of duelists by any means due to her skill ceiling and lower versatility in the current meta. She's far from weak though, in my opinion, in good hands. If the sniper gameplay is something that you like doing, she's definitely worth mastering, and once you learn how to use the kick, this is where you'll massively boost your survivability. But that's pretty much it for the guide, guys. If you guys have enjoyed the video, as always, do not forget to like and subscribe, as it massively helps me out. If you have any comments or thoughts about using Black Widow or any cool clips that you want to share, tell stories about whatever it is, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'm Vision SGen. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.